Okay, so we're discussing right now about a trauma that a nice lady has and how she can deal with it with her sister passing. It's still really coming up for her in her body. So what I was hearing the guides say is when it comes up for you, they want you to, I'm getting chills. So she's here hanging out with us, just to let you know as well. So she comes to your right side and she's asking you, well, what do you miss? What's going on? Why are you sad? How can we release this together? Because now she's guiding you from the other side. So yeah, she's not physically gone, but she's here with you energetically as well, right? So the biggest thing the guides are saying what you need to do, I don't know if you've done this already because I'm seeing them, is you need to write her a letter and write the universal letter and then ask for signs that she's still here. Have you done anything like that before?
No, but last night, the way the things were presented, it was more like me accepting that she's no longer here.
Right.
And kind of saying goodbye.
Aw. Yeah. So physically, yeah, it is a journey, right? I still get that with my grandma. I cried yesterday because it popped up on my laptop, all these old texts that we had texting each other of like pictures and things, right? So it's the memories. And I start crying and my girls are like, why are you crying? You miss grandma? I'm like, I do. And I know that feeling because it's like when someone passes and we just want to talk to them, we just want to hold them, right? So that's why with my Sacred Soul Sundays, that's why I do what I do with those, is so that we can bring in sometimes our loved ones and talk to them and hold them and feel them there as well, right? So that's one of the things that you can do. They're saying is to write a letter, but know that, yeah, she's physically gone, but energetically she's still here. And so asking her to give you some signs as well with that, and not running from the emotion. So the biggest thing with the traumas and the triggers is if we numb them or distract, or we're not fully present with ourselves, it's like a roller coaster almost, right? So it's like we're riding this roller coaster or like a wave almost. So we're kind of healing, we're feeling good, and then whoa, the wave comes in, or like we're going up the roller coaster, it's coming, right? So we allow that whoo to come over us, be there fully present with those emotions, talk to her and say, I really miss you. You know, I'm having a hard time. Please give me signs that you're here, because our loved ones are here. They are guiding us, right? So I hope that helps. But also they're saying, like, I keep seeing you writing. You have to write about it as well. Write to her. There's something all around the writing that keeps coming up. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Yeah. And then also with saying goodbye, that's good to say goodbye to the physical her, but know that we're limitless beings and we're souls that we can go on and on, right? So yeah, she's physically not here, but she is on the other side, right? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna ask everyone. At the beginning of last call, I was able to mute everyone, but for some reason I can't right now. So if you guys could all mute, unless I do it separately. Let's see. There we go. I think everyone's muted. And let me know. Can you hear? I have a water thing going on over there that just turned on. It's not very loud, but I don't know if you can hear it. No? Okay, cool. Okay, so let's discuss what triggers are tonight. So a trigger is basically an unhealed trauma that we've stored anywhere in our body or energy body, right? So it's the aftermath of the event that has occurred. So it's triggering us. So let's say if, so like a big one for me when I was growing up is my sister and I were playing and my mom's boyfriend came out, like we were like playing, having a good time, just being kids. And my mom's boyfriend came out and yelled at us. So instantly I got, you need to be quiet. You need to just sit there. And it's not okay to shine your light and play. So playing has been a hard thing for me throughout my life, to try and let my inner child play that I've worked through. Being quiet, me speaking my truth, right? Of like, oh, singing, dancing, getting loud, right? So me playing, that triggered that. So that was a trigger of, okay, so with that trauma response, I would just kind of sit there and watch people and not fully let myself be out there, right? Because I didn't want to get yelled at again. It's not fun being yelled at, especially from a big man that's huge, right? So that's the trigger that I had from that. But that's completely different than let's say when my girls are triggering me. So that trigger he implanted in me of yelling, like, you shouldn't be yelling. Same with other people, other parents and things, that people that yelled at me when I was a kid, same thing. They yelled at me, that implants it. Then the trigger happens. Then my girls, they're playing, have a good time. And if I'm not grounded, I'm trying to do things. I have ADHD. I'm trying to focus. I'm overstimulated. All these things are happening. And then bam, I could be so grounded. Right. And I'm just going off. I was, and I've worked through it. Right. But it happens to all of us. So that trigger that he implanted in me, now I'm triggering it out to the girls. So it can get passed down from parents to, right, down and down and down and down. So it's up to us to be open and able to break that cycle of saying, no more. I'm going to get conscious of what this trigger is. I'm going to go in and listen. What is my body telling me? Oh, so how do we feel when we're triggered? We feel maybe anxious, tightness in the chest. We feel a lot of different things. So I want you to write down, if you guys have your books, the workbook, you can write down what it feels like for you to have a trigger. Like, write down what you feel is a trigger for you. What is a trigger for you? What does it feel like? And then how do you know if you're triggered? And if you guys don't have your workbooks, that's okay. You can do this later. I know some people like to do it on the lives. Some people like to do it later and dive into themselves. So what you feel is a trigger, because everybody's triggers, just like the traumas we discussed last night, is going to be different. What triggers me might not trigger you. It might be fine. Right. So another example is like my fiance's snoring. I don't like that because it reminds me and it triggers a memory of my dad snoring and I couldn't sleep at night. So it triggers that. Right. So then it's like, okay, I'll just gently push him. And like before, years ago, I used to get really mad. And I'm like, why am I so mad? Why don't I like his snoring? I would talk to my mom about it. She's like, oh, I don't know. I loved when my dad snored and I didn't like when my dad snored, right? So the different triggers for each person, but it can be with anything, right? So let's say you get into a car crash and then you're ready, you're healed. You want to go drive your car again, you go to buckle up. Instant anxiety. It's that triggered memory that you've stored of, oh no, I'm not safe. I'm not safe to drive. What if and then you can get either flashbacks of that's flashing back, that trauma response. Oh no, what if I get into a car crash again? What if this? And your mind and body start to race, right? So what if that happens? Then what? Right? So there's different triggers for each person, each thing. So if it were a car crash or anything that has been out of our control, we just have to ground our energy, breathe. Breathing is one of the best things we can do to come back into our body when we're feeling triggered. Breathe. And then I invite you to also, if you can, step kind of just outside energetically behind you and try and observe what's going on in the area. So you're watching yourself. So if it's the kids triggering you, if it's you in the car and you're scared to drive, if it's anything else that's triggering you, pull yourself out of that for a second and just breathe. Okay, so how can I address this? Because when we're so in the go, and let's say the kids are coming at me and things like that, I'm not coming from a grounded space, right? So I want to step back, step out a bit, observe. Okay, my girls are having a hard time. I need to stay grounded for them. Get down to the level, breathe. How can I help you? Knowing that maybe they're having sensory load. They need help. They're not doing things to me, right? Life's not coming at me. They're trying to ask me for help in a certain way because they need something. So getting down to their level, understanding that they need something. So another trigger that I would have before, I don't know if you guys remember last night, I said that I was deaf from pneumonia, right? So my ears, and then also being yelled at, when Victoria gets excited, or because she has autism, right? So she will get, like, she makes it really hurts my ears. And it's like it really, I don't like, it's almost like, the chalk going down the nail, like the nails on the chalkboard. It's like that. It just kind of, I don't like that, right? So when we can shift it and say, okay, she's just having fun. She's doing her own thing. She's not like coming at me, or even if she was, that's fine. She needs something. So when people are kind of, even at work, so let's say somebody's coming at you and you're feeling triggered of like, I don't know what to do, and fight or flight and all these things. breathe, and just know with your breath, you will find your power. And as you observe the situation, that's where you can find the power too, in all of it. But if we snap and allow that trigger to come out like that, then the old wound will ooze out onto the people and will bleed onto everyone. And we don't want to do that. We want to address what's going on. So you can talk through it. Okay, I'm feeling a bit triggered right now. I'm feeling a bit anxious. You can hold your body wherever you need to. Like for me, I really like to kind of just, okay, like I'm feeling a little frustrated. Like yesterday, my computer crashed and I was trying to get things going. And Victoria's like, are you mad? I'm like, I'm just frustrated. It's okay. I'm okay. It's okay. I'll figure it out, and just talk myself through it. So that way she can see when she gets frustrated or something doesn't work out for her, she will know how to do it. So we want to also instill the steps for the people around us to show them, maybe they don't know how, if you guys have children as well. So coming back to your breath, coming back to yourself. Okay, I'm fine. I'm safe. If you're having those flashbacks, look at 3 things that are around you, even up to 5 if you feel, that are going to ground your energy. Maybe feel. So like right now, I was guided to bring down the rose quartz for everyone, and I'm holding it. So you can find something. If you don't have an actual crystal, maybe you have a bracelet and you're just breathing and feeling, I'm safe now. I am not in that situation again. Say it's, so for me, I got raped when I lost my virginity years ago, like over 20 years ago. So trying to get intimate with my partners was very hard for me, because I felt like that guy took something from me. I felt dirty. I felt shame. I felt all these things for so many years. Right. And then I felt like all the blinds have to be down, and I don't want people hearing. And it was just me in my head so much. I'd be shaking, and it's like, how can I feel sexy and like get it on when I'm like, hey, right? So breathing, coming back to, I am safe. I'm not with that man that did that to me. I've gone back many times to heal that wound as well. So many times over the years to release all of that and forgive him, right? So what we need to do with the triggers is go in. What is the trigger telling us? What are we feeling in our body? Kind of like when we address the traumas, but it's a bit more intense, right? So what is this? How can I help myself at this moment in time to get through this trigger? Breathe, having the tools, talking, okay, I'm feeling triggered, I'm feeling this. Communicate what you need, either to whoever's with you or to yourself. What do I need in this moment in time to get me through this? What do I need? And just breathe and ask yourself, and just be there, maybe have some water, and just focus on your breath. Because if you're focusing on your breath, then your body, you can't really snap because you're focusing on that one thing. Kind of like when I was talking about the EMDR yesterday. You can also do the EFT tapping, the emotional freedom technique tapping, if that feels good. I'm now releasing this trauma. There's lots of YouTube videos that you can do. And we could even do some together as well, if you guys want in the future. So an emotion can be, an emotional trigger can be anything that's in our body that's causing that spark, right? That emotion could be a memory. It could be an event, could be anything that's triggering that. So diving deep into yourself as to what that is. So you've written down what you feel is a trigger, how you know when you're feeling triggered. And then we'll go to the next page. Is now I invite you to think about when you've been triggered. So how did that come up for you? Think of one trigger. We're going to do one again. So when you've been triggered, what triggered you? Why did this trigger you? So maybe let's close our eyes and kind of hold our bodies again, if that feels good for you, or just placing your hand on your stomach or here. So thinking about when you've been triggered, what was the trigger? Why did this trigger you? Bring yourself back to that moment in time. And if it's very intense, that's okay. Just breathe through it, allowing these emotions to come up. Because a lot of times we don't give ourselves the time, the energy, the attention to our triggers, to our bodies. So what is coming up for you? How did you handle this? And what happened? So what could you have done differently? So breathing into that and thinking. So observing, seeing yourself in that area now, kind of watching it play out as a movie, and then seeing yourself watching it. So what would you have done differently? So we're kind of going in like how we did with the traumas last night, but we're doing it for the trigger. Where do you feel it in your body? I want you to notice. So you can walk up to your past version self, that triggered self, and start to pull out things from her energetically in your mind's eye. And just noticing how that feels as you release all of that. So what is the trigger? Why did it trigger you? How did you handle it? What could you have done differently? So now, whatever you could have done differently, choosing to allow that energy to swirl around the past version of yourself, to float around. And then also letting your body know as you hold yourself, I am safe now. I am safe now. I am ready to release this trigger. So the protocol I do with my clients is we want to acknowledge it. We want to reveal whatever it is. We want to feel the emotions. We want to forgive everyone included and be open, ready to release it. So if you want to do that now, you can take a deep breath in, be opening to forgiving whoever you need to. Just breathing, allowing yourself to relax more and more into your body with every breath. Feeling that trigger, just releasing more and more as you address it. It's not as big now. If you notice, your bodies have shifted already. It doesn't feel as tight in the chest and the throat and the belly and the head. There were different areas I could feel from you guys, and I'm not feeling that as much now. So great job. And all that took what, a minute or two to just be quiet, be with yourself, be still, to listen, to give yourself this safe container, to be here for yourself. So take another deep, deep breath in. And just holding yourself, saying, I'm safe. I'm safe to let this go. I'm ready to let this go. This memory, this trauma, this trigger can no longer hurt me in any way. This trauma, this trigger, this emotion can no longer hurt me in any way. Breathe. This trauma, this trigger, this emotion can no longer hurt me in any way. And just let it go. So noticing how your body feels now as you've released. Just noticing, breathing in light and love into every part of your body. I also want you to sense little healing, it's interesting, little healing beads. Okay, little beads are going into your body, these little healing beads. It's what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, what the guides are saying you need to bring into your body, little healing beads. And when they find an area that you've been storing your traumas, they're going to burst out healing love into that trauma. And it's going to dissolve that trauma. So allowing yourself to do a body scan and just observing where you may be storing trauma. And you might know, you might not, and that's okay. So allow these healing beads to burst out wherever they need to. Could be your whole body, different parts of your body, just noticing. And you might start to get chills, you might feel tingles, you might just feel relaxed, allowing yourself to feel whatever needs to come up for you as you take another deep, deep breath in. Letting go. So the biggest thing, again, with releasing the traumas is just letting your body know, and the triggers, I am safe. I am safe now. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And if you need to repeat that over and over, that's perfect. If you want to do EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique tapping, that's perfect too. Like I said earlier, you can take that crystal and just smooth your fingers over it and calm yourself that way. Breathing, though, is the biggest thing they're saying for you tonight that's going to help anchor you. You can also visualize, is what I'm seeing, the guides are showing, a beautiful anchor going down into the earth. from like a boat, right? An anchor. So you're anchoring yourself. And this is interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen it this way. Usually it's tree roots or it's a light or something. So they're showing an anchor. So putting that anchor down, down, down into the earth, anchoring yourself as deep as you want to go, and just knowing that, oh, I can't pull on it. I am anchored down. I'm anchored. And no matter what comes my way today, it's okay. And if I get triggered, I will have the keys and the tools to know I can breathe. I can communicate what I need. I can do the EFT tapping. I can sing, I can dance, I can shake out my body. I can go into stillness and quietness if I need time for myself. And there's no wrong way. You will know what you need to do. But just noticing when a trigger comes up, because there will be other ones, how you are empowered now to address it. So you'll breathe, you'll feel it. Maybe you'll want to tap on your chest. I am safe. I am safe. As you tap, I am safe. Or your belly, tapping on your belly. I am safe. I am safe. Letting it go. Letting it go. And then just addressing to whoever you need to and communicating with them. So let's say with me in the past of with being in the bedroom of needing the lights down and needing this, I would communicate like I've had sexual trauma. So I need things a certain way so that I can be open and feel comfortable to open up to you, right? And the more that I can open myself and have that safe container with you, then we can open together. So communicating with your partner, friends, family, coworkers, whoever you need to communicate with will help you as well. So triggers are part of PTSD, right? That post-traumatic stress disorder. So knowing what triggers you and how is what we already discussed. So I just made some little pre-notes for everyone. So let's identify some of the triggers. So we'll keep this a bit lighter. So think back to a time when you were criticized. Maybe someone disapproved something that you were doing. So this could be a situation that can trigger you about how you're feeling, maybe hopeless, maybe a loss of control, right? These can all trigger you as well. This could trigger a lot of uncomfortable things, memories, someone else's words, actions, or even your own behaviors, right? So how about someone challenging your beliefs? That's a big one too. So if you notice people talking about, it could be COVID, politics, anything in life that's like, oh, that doesn't go with my beliefs, of like, I don't like that you're saying that, and we get defensive, right? That's a trigger because they're triggering something in us. Well, why can't we have an open conversation about anything, right? Without judgments, without anything, we're just conversing, right? So that could be something. Maybe somebody's challenging your beliefs about something. So what about feeling maybe unwanted, ignored, excluded, or feeling smothered? So maybe you're excluded, or maybe somebody's smothering you. It's too much, it's too much, right? So feeling how you feel when these things are going on in your body, when this is happening for you. These might not trigger you, but they might. So feeling betrayed or rejected, that could be a trigger for some as well. So pay attention to how you feel, and these feelings will tell you what you need at that time as well. So trace the trigger back in your mind, stop and breathe. So when did it first feel like that to you? And this might be a challenging part and might not come up right away because there's these layers, right? So if you can't go back to that exact first memory, go back to a memory that pops up, because as you unravel everything, it'll all start to make sense. And it's like, oh, that's why. Okay. Oh, that's why. And you're putting these little puzzle pieces together. So here's the game plan. We want to empower your feelings and honor them, right? So when you're getting that trigger, okay, I'm feeling triggered. Okay, so talk about it. Empower yourself. Feel it. Feel the feelings. Allow yourself to be there fully with that trigger. Don't be scared of it. Don't back away. Don't numb. Be there, right? So what's triggering you? Being there with the trigger. Why did this trigger you? Asking, going in. When is the first time? So remember that feeling. What is the memory that pops up, or the emotion, right? So is it maybe feeling unloved, feeling like you need to people please? Maybe you need to feel like a perfectionist. Maybe it's all this, right? So get curious with yourself. And then what are you feeling in your body? So address this, right? So that's the big one too. Breathe, feel it in your body. What is this in my body? So touch that area like we did earlier and breathe. Again, breathe. Like they keep saying it tonight. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So allow whatever else that needs to come up, come to the surface, and voice whatever you need. Breathe, let it go. So other action steps is the EFT, like we discussed, moving your body, breathing, yell, scream if you need to, not at people, but go to a safe place. If you need to punch a pillow, whatever you need to do. And then keep a mood journal if that feels good for you too. You can do that as well. And then also for the homework, we have what are some ways that you can work through these triggers safely. So that'll be for you guys to dive into your own stuff, because what might help me might not help you, right? So this is your own journey to dive into yourselves of what feels good for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the class and got some releases and some aha moments, right? So I wanted to keep it pretty light and simple as well, not getting too, because we could go even deeper with all of this, but it can be overwhelming as well. I want this to be a nice, light, fun class, right? So as well too, tomorrow's going to be a fun night. So we're going to be doing one of the draws tomorrow for anyone that liked, shared, commented, tagged anyone, and then anybody that's been interacting in the group. And then after, I think I'm going to give it a couple days to do another draw, and then there's an even bigger draw as well for you guys. I'm very, very excited about all of that. I wish I could tell you, but I cannot till tomorrow night. And so again, remembering that your feelings, your emotions might come to the surface now because we have said, okay, I'm ready to feel. So allow yourself to feel. And what I want to do as well is, if you guys feel open and you want to keep the communication going, we can do that in the event, or we can make our own little private group, either in this group or in another one of just strictly the traumas and triggers and how to address it as you guys are working through things as well too. That'll be a fun thing to do. And yeah, does anyone have any questions or comments at this time for me? No, perfect. All right, well, good. I hope tonight was just as nice for you, and thank you for joining.